Hi everyone, my name is Kylie Connor and I am a registered dietitian here in California, and I am completely new to YouTube, so bear with me. I just kind of wanted to jump on and give you guys an overview of what I'm doing with my business, with my practice, and kind of what I have to offer you all as a following, and kind of what this is going to look like for me and for you all. So to get started, I am a registered dietitian in California who specializes in endocrine dysfunction and women's health. So particularly, I specialize in hormone conditions. My main focus is PCOS. I also deal with endocrine disorders such as Hashimoto's, other thyroid disorders, general infertility. I work with diabetes patients. So a lot of different hormone disorders are kind of things that I specialize in. But my main focus is PCOS, which is what I want to dedicate this channel to as well. PCOS has a special, very special place in my heart. I am a longtime sufferer of PCOS myself. This is how I started this business, and this is how I got into dietetics in general. I was really craving an outlet to deal with my own illness. I was at a place in my life where I was feeling so sick all the time, you guys. I was feeling miserable. You know, conventional medicine was just not helping me. Practitioners, it was really hard to find one that really understood PCOS. It was really discouraging. I was kind of to the point in my life where I felt I was just doomed to feel horrible and slowly lose myself forever. And that was just not a fun place to be. And you know, I was in college at the time of getting diagnosed, and I actually ended up switching my major from nursing to dietetics because I knew that, you know, nutrition was one of the cornerstones of PCOS management. And I figured, you know, this might be the thing that makes the most impact of my life. Why not? Let's just get a degree in it, right? And let's go off and let's help other people who feel as helpless as I do as well. So that's kind of where that started for me. So I did go to California State University, Chico, and I got my undergrad degree in general dietetics there. I always knew I wanted to take that, you know, conventional dietetics degree and do something more holistic and root cause analysis based with it. So after I finished my degree, I spent a little time kind of exploring what that meant for me, and eventually I ended up at a dietetic internship at a state-run hospital. So state hospitals, as a lot of you might know, in California are maximum security forensic hospitals. So I was at one of those, which is essentially it's prison-esque. It's kind of like a prison. It's a place for the criminally insane. So they had to have had at least one violent criminal charge and a mental health disorder diagnosis to go along with it. So that is the environment that I spent my year-long dietetic internship in. It was challenging to say the least, but it really developed my clinical skills. It developed my expertise. I got a lot of great real world exposure to the field of dietetics, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Granted, I am now starting my own business and have started my own business, and I'm really actually getting to work with populations that make me feel passionate, fulfilled, rewarded, all of the great things. So that's been kind of an amazing transition, and I've really gotten to explore what a fulfilling career means to me, and I definitely feel that this is it right here, right now. I'm finally living it, so it's a beautiful feeling, and I'm just so excited to like share the wealth, share the knowledge, help all the sisters who've been where I've been, because it's a lonely place sometimes. It's such a hard disorder. PCOS is so hard to navigate. And one of the reasons PCOS is so hard to navigate is because there's no blanket advice that somebody can come on here and say is going to work for all people with PCOS. It is such an individualized beast of a disease state, right? It can affect us in so many different ways. It doesn't present itself in the same way for every person, which subsequently leads us to the treatment not being the same for every person, and how we can manage symptoms really not being the same for every person. So my first little tidbit of advice coming on to this channel is definitely be wary of blanket advice that you hear from other people with PCOS or you see on the internet. It is just so difficult to navigate because what worked for them could not work for you, and more importantly, it could actually, worsen symptoms or worsen the condition itself. So it's really important to get some individualized care in this field. You really need to have either your own background or have somebody trusted and experienced and invested in your case to really dive down and personalize all of these recommendations. Throughout my time on this channel, my plan is to give generalized advice that people could apply to themselves, with the intention that people will be taking this and making sure that it is individualized and able to be individualized to their lifestyle, to their specific form of PCOS, to any comorbid conditions they may have. So it really is all to be taken with a grain of salt, and ultimately it's super important to get somebody with some medical background on board with you, somebody with professional experience. Be wary of health coaches that you may find online that claim to specialize in PCOS. This really is such a fragile disorder. We're looking at your entire endocrine system being affected. We are looking at a whole host of metabolic comorbidities here. This is not something that we want to take lightly or play around with or put into the hands of somebody who's not credentialed to be taking care of you. So with that in mind, it kind of leads me into my next point, which is this channel is going to be an informational outlet. I'm hoping to post once a week for you guys. I'm hoping to take requests of specific PCOS topics or points of interest that you guys want to hear more about. And I'm hoping to take that and break it down into little digestible, useful pieces that sisters can go ahead and use to help themselves, use to educate themselves, use to advocate for themselves, right? Because with PCOS, another issue that we see is some healthcare discrimination. It's a hard thing. We can go to the doctor and, for example, their first line and only line of advice for you may be lose the weight, the PCOS will go away. That's just not true, and that's just weight bias at its finest, right? So I'm hoping that by giving you some of these tools, you're going to be able to better navigate situations such as that. You're going to be able to better navigate advocating for yourself in these healthcare settings where maybe you're not being treated the way that you would like to be treated. Maybe you're not receiving the kind of care you'd like to be receiving. So it's always good to go in with some knowledge base and some expectations of, the kind of treatment you want, and just laying it all on the table and showing the practitioners, whoever that may be, that your stuff too, and that you're not settling for any kind of half-assed treatment, and that you're here to get better, you're here to feel better. My goal is definitely to help others get there, because it took me way too long to get there. Even with all the knowledge that I had from school, it took me way too long to get there, guys. So if I can just speed up that process for any sisters out there, I'm going to feel good about what I do in a day when I go to sleep every night. So that's my goal for you guys. And like I said, leave comments about topics that you're interested in. I plan to do a weekly session. I really want to break it down into digestible chunks for everybody, explain what's going on in our bodies, why some of the things that happen to us are actually happening, what we can do to kind of mitigate that. I want to go through all of the things with you guys. So I'm really excited for this journey. I'm hoping I have some people that are excited to join me through it and who are excited to learn about their own bodies and what we can really do to improve our quality of life while living with PCOS. So I'm excited, guys. Thanks so much for listening. I'll see you next week.